Hi, welcome to my YouTube. Now before I show you how to install this conversion kit onto your GSG-16, I thought I'd better show you how to totally disassemble this, except for the fire control group and the bolt. That I'll do later. Now this will give those who are thinking of changing the 16-inch barrel to a 9-inch barrel themselves, it'll give you a chance to see how difficult it is to get to the barrel. Now this is going to be a long video, so why don't we just jump right in. Do your safety thing first. First thing you do is remove these two bolts, and they're held in. Now I already took the liberty of unscrewing them first to save time, and they both are like this, and they're both identical. So I'm just gonna screw these back in so I don't lose them, and then you slide this folder back out like this. The next thing you do, there is a bolt stop in the back, and it's held in by a hex screw. So take an Allen wrench, there's an Allen wrench here, stick it in and start turning. And be careful, there is a washer with it. That should come out. Now slide down the bolt stop. It looks like this. I'm going to put the hex screw and the washer in with it. Okay, now before you remove the lower receiver and the bolt, you have to remove them together. Make sure you place it this way, and the reason why is behind this bolt right here there's a tiny little spring that controls the BHO. Don't lose that. I have lost that a few times already, and currently I have lost it. I found it, lost it, found it, oh, so many times. Okay, when you get to this point, you just pull the grip back like that. Once it passes the back receiver, it just slides down like this. Okay. Now, when I say there's a tiny little spring, it normally sits at this little groove in here, and what it does is pushes the BHO down, and it just sits there. Nothing holds it except for the bolt, and like I said, at the moment I've lost it. So now make sure you pull out the entire bolt assembly. Okay, so at this point you have completed your field strip. Okay, the next step you do is remove all the rails, and it requires you to get a star shape screwdriver. Just simply unscrew them. Okay, actually not these two, just do the handguard first. I took the liberty of unscrewing most of these screws so I don't spend the time unscrewing them. Okay, and these rails, these are plastic rails, they just pop out. Okay, this is what it looks like once the handguard rail is removed. It doesn't look too bad by itself. I would actually, it exposes the M-lock. I would actually use this by itself because I find using the rails is kind of not very comfortable. So, next, let's move the caulking handle. And that uses a different screw. It uses a Phillips small. There's a hole on top. Once you remove the rail, expose this hole. Now stick the Phillips screw in there and start unscrewing. Okay. Then slide out the bolt, the caulking handle, and that's the screw. Now try to keep them together so you don't lose them. Okay. Okay. Next, you can remove the handguard. The handguard uses that star shape. Three small screws holds the handguard in place. All three of them same size, and the handguard slides down like that. I'll show you what it looks like. M-lock. At this point, it looks like that. Okay, next thing you do is remove the silencer or the suppressor, fake suppressor. And for that, you need a skinny Allen wrench. And that's what it is. You stick it in here, right at the base of the front sight, like that, and start turning. Don't turn all the way and have don't have that small set screw come out, otherwise you're more likely to lose it. And then this suppressor slides forward. Jiggle it a bit, and it's coming out. Ah, there it is. And this is what it looks like. Okay. At this point, all the screws to separate this charging tube and separate the two halves of the top receiver, you need to all the screws on the left side. This one's on the left side, this is on the left side, these four on the left side, except one on the right side. So why don't we just remove the one on the right side? It still uses the same star screw driver. So that's removed. Now these are extra long screws, so I'll put them separate. I'll find a magnet here and I'll stick it to the magnet. Okay, that's one. Then turn it upside down and start working on these ones. These are long ones, about 5/8. Now, when you get to this point, you can just slide this charging tube forward. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it isn't. Oh, this one is easy because I've done it before. Okay, now there's a spring that comes out with it. Slide the barrel. There's a spring, and here is the tube the charging handle goes into, and goes right in here. It goes like that. Okay. Now make sure when you put it back that this recess for the screw is facing on top, and this goes on the side like that. Okay, now take a look at the barrel. It's a fairly nice thick barrel. I heard somebody compare this barrel to the Amerex barrel, and apparently the Amerex barrel 22 is skinnier than this. So it's quite a good sized barrel. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is separate these two sides. Okay. Oh no, actually, before I do that, I need to remove the rear sight. And simply unscrew the top. Like that. Okay, it has a small screw. Actually, I'm just gonna, and this comes straight up. And I'm just gonna put this back here so it doesn't. Okay, there is 4 more screw that's holding this side together, these two halves, and this top rail will pop out once this two separates. Okay, I'm gonna do the back screw of the receiver. It's a smaller one, and then there's one here by the magazine latch. I do intend to replace this magazine latch with the GSG-5 latch. Okay. This screw and this screw is the same size. Okay. Then there's these last two left. Okay, it's also the same size as these two. Okay, now before I separate the two halves of the receiver, I want you to take a good look inside. Okay, that copper screw is what this screw attaches to, and it holds the rail down. And you can't see the other one because that's behind the spring guide. Okay, so here I am, ready to go. Now also, do not unscrew this screw that's over here. But you just basically pull these two halves carefully, okay? And these two halves should actually separate like that. Be careful to watch what comes out of it. Okay, so as I mentioned before, that this rail you don't actually screw because it's already screwed onto these two brass washer. They're kind of a special washer that actually sits on the receiver, so it's like that. Okay, and this is the charging spring guide rod. Okay, there it sits at a special location right here, like that. Now this is obviously the barrel and the barrel block. I want you guys to take a good look what you have to deal with if you decide to change the barrel from a 16 to 9-inch yourselves. I don't have any plans to do that, but I thought I'll get to this point and just show you what you have to deal with. Oh, and one more thing, just below this thing is the BHO, bolt hole open feature. Okay, that's better, like that. Okay, so goes like that, and of course there's this tiny little pin, don't lose it. It goes like right there. Take a good look. And remember that tiny little spring I said that keeps getting lost? It sits right at this spot right here. And that's all it is. That's where it sits. Okay. Now this is the magazine catch. I will have to replace this with the GSG-5 magazine catch. And it's basically like that. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, do not turn this tiny little screw. Okay. Okay, next is the magazine. Pretty straightforward. There's two Phillips screw in the bottom. Just unscrew them. Base plate comes off, followed by the magazine spring. Now the follower is attached to the feeding tap. Now you need a hex for that. Okay, you just need to unscrew. And that will come off on the other side, and there is a nut and a follower that slides out from the bottom. It's pretty straightforward. There's only one way to go in, and that is the hole goes forward or up, and you need to, it doesn't matter what side goes in, as long as it goes in like that. And then the nut goes on the other side. Then you tighten the hex screw. Pretty straightforward. Make sure it slides easy. Slide in the magazine. Now just a little trick to make it easy for you to put the magazine spring back in, or the base plate. It tends to get caught in the bottom here. Use an Allen wrench. Push it down further. Hold the spring back so you could put the base plate back in. Now once it's in, put the 2 screws. Oh, it uses a Phillips. It helps if you reduce the tension on the spring. Okay, pretty simple. Test it out. Good. Okay, next, removing the firing control group from the grip. There's 2 screws on the bottom. It is a Phillips, so I need a Phillips. And the cap, grip cap comes off. Okay, not so easy. There it is. Inside, there's a bolt that requires an Allen wrench, a long one, and you start unscrewing the bolt. And this is what it looks like. Okay, before we can remove the fire control group, we need to remove a screw. And the screw is on the right over here. And it needs a small Phillips. And I have a small Phillips right here. And you insert that onto the left selector and you start turning. Like that. That's what the small screw looks like. And then you have to remove your selector. And it just slides up. This is the one on the left. And this is on the right. This is an ambidextrous selector. Now before you can remove the fire control group, make sure this is facing up and pull out. You have to wiggle it a bit and it's coming. You can feel it's moving. Here, I'm just going to have to pull it out a bit. It's starting to move. Be very careful. Make sure you don't lose these brass rings and they stay on the upside. Oh, it's just jumped out of place because it's held in by the spring and the rings just jumped out. Okay. This concludes our total disassembly. So next thing I would be doing is installing the GSG conversion kit, GSG-5 conversion kit. So thank you very much for joining me, and please subscribe.